For more on these reunification talks, we are joined now by Aykan Erdemir. He is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. They are a nonprofit foreign policy institute. And you said so appropriately, 42 years in 4 minutes can be tough to talk about it. But we want to talk about today and tomorrow, but it's important that we talk about yesterday. And the New York Times described it this way. This is one of the world's thorniest and longest conflicts, as you pointed out, rightly so. Talk to me about all of that, which is the stew that we start with before we take those steps forward.
Yes, the conflict has been going on for at least 42 years, but it's set aside from other conflicts because it hasn't been a bloody conflict in those last 42 years, meaning since the Turkish intervention, which was a response to a Greek-backed coup attempt in Cyprus, things have been quite calm. Communities are separate, Turks in the north, Greeks in the south, but still there is a strong will to unify the island because the island offers so much. If it becomes an island of peace and stability again, there are energy resources, there is great tourism potential, and in the Eastern Mediterranean, it can become a hub. It can attract a lot of investment in a volatile region, and hence the talks.
Natalie kind of ticked off some of the complications. Turkish President Erdogan saying that Turkish troops will be in Cyprus forever. Some are saying that is really complicating any efforts at reunification. But obviously, Turkey's just one of the players. Each one, I imagine, doing their own fair share of posturing. What are some of the hurdles you see before we can actually see some sort of agreement?
Yes, this is not just a conflict between two communities, the Greek Cypriot and Greek Turkish. But there are more actors involved. For example, there are three guarantor countries, United Kingdom, Turkey, and Greece, because of Ireland's complex history. And if there's a sustainable solution to the problem in Ireland, I think the ultimate goal possibly could be a demilitarized Ireland. But then the question is, if and when Turkish and Greek troops leave the island, will there still be this agreement of guarantor countries, or as some Greek Cypriots desire, will the guarantor agreements basically cease to exist as Ireland becomes an island of peace and demilitarized zone? I think the key question is probably how communities will live together, how they will form a new model of governing themselves in a what's called bi-communal, bi-zonal federal state, where heads of states rotate basically between the communities according to a specific formula. And if that is achieved, I think it could send a very strong signal in Eastern Mediterranean, because we know that there are many protracted conflicts in the region, and communities elsewhere are also trying very hard to find common ground to coexist. So I hope the Cyprus talks reach a sustainable solution, and Turkish and Greek Cypriots, together with the three guarantor states, demonstrate that people of different faiths and ethnicities can coexist together.
And you said, I hope, and that seems to be the big word, because the new UN Secretary General says Cyprus could be a symbol of hope for 2017. This is something he's already kind of putting his name on as he comes into office. Why now, do you think? Is there just a movement you see there? I mean, what's going on exactly?
Actually, talks have never reached this far before, so that certainly is a hopeful sign. But beyond that, I think when we take a look at what's happening in the region, in Syria, as conflicts tend to spill over into neighboring countries, like Turkey, like Lebanon, Cyprus could be exactly the opposite example. That is a peace process, a unification process, spilling over dividends to the neighbors. Because if Cyprus conflict is resolved, we might see developing energy projects joining possibly Egypt, Israel, Cyprus, Turkey, Greece. It could lead to tourism cooperation. For example, Turkey also supplies fresh water to Cyprus, so there is the peace water pipeline. So Cyprus could be a model of how coexistence and peace could promote economic cooperation, but more importantly, a new security architecture, because I think what we need more at this point in Eastern Mediterranean is a country of peace, a country of stability, where prosperity basically trumps over hate and intolerance.
Well, let's hope for it. Aykan, thank you so much for coming in and offering your insights.
Thanks for having me.